Right, well, we're going again, and cue.
And cue.
Key.
Perdu de circonstances et tout le monde est Tuesday tout avec la raison d'être maintenant. Cynical, comment allez-vous? Hello, c'est la même chose, you love me et je t'adore et Windows 2. Regardez-moi pour heart's toujours l'amour et merci.
Pair of Victorian cami knickers and a copy of Unashamed Norwegian Lovers. Is that all?
Get both volumes.
Both volumes are delivered within 2 hours.
You'll never get all that stuff in 2 hours.
All right, are delivered before the shop shuts, on the steps.
Not on the steps.
Why not?
It might get wet.
All right, I'll put inside the porch.
There's not enough room in the porch.
Well, where then?
Look, why not have it sent straight round to our place?
Oh, to number 37, Edge... Don't be daft, first thing the law will be there.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on. Look, just go out and get the stuff and come back and we'll tell you where to put it, all right?
And what about your garage?
No, it's not big enough.
Well, next on Rutland Weekend we have... Oh, this is monstrous. I think it's dreadful. I'm sorry, I really do. How can they expect anybody to... Well, I mean, you've seen the suit, what's left of it. Oh, I'm not to say any more. No, it's appalling, it's simply appalling. And now, Man Alive.
A perfectly ordinary suburban bungalow in a perfectly ordinary suburban street. Or is it? No, it's not. What we said about it being a perfectly ordinary suburban bungalow is wrong. For this is no perfectly ordinary suburban bungalow in no perfectly ordinary suburban street. Far from it. Not at all. For this is one of Britain's brand new freelance private enterprise suburban prisons. With the overcrowding in Britain's state prisons, these private enterprise jails are growing at an alarming rate. There are 15 freelance private prisons in this street alone, including Shea Parkhurst, Done Escaping, and Hard Labour Villa. But what is life like inside these bungalow bastions? Ron Kempt has been an inmate at Shays Ethel for 8 years.
It's a smashing prison. I can't speak too highly of it. You get plenty of exercise, good chance of remission, and lots of cake.
Cake?
Oh, yes. Walnut cake, chocolate cake, cherry cake. It's the best prison in the world for cake. It's better than Mrs. Harris's prison next door. She's brought back hanging.
The dreaded Mrs. Harris is the governor of one of the toughest suburban prisons, a Bider Stretch. Here is the dreaded punishment shed, where miscreants are forced to clean the lawnmower. Here is the maximum security kitchen, where long-term, high-security risk prisoners are forced to wash up.
She makes us polish this place.
every day.
But it's the hangings that have made Mrs. Harris so unpopular in the private prison world. The official executioner, Mr. Harris, refused to answer our questions, saying that the hangings were purely an internal matter of prison discipline, and that so far no one who had been hanged had complained. But the inmates themselves are far from happy.
Yeah, she hangs you for things like bad language. I mean, blimey. I mean, dear.
I will not tolerate bad language. I would rather hang my boys than let them use rude words.
Mrs. Harris may be tough, but she keeps her prisoners clean. They each have their own tooth mugs, and she makes sure they wash regularly behind their ears.
Get me on your ears.
The daily routine starts off with compulsory reading of the Daily Telegraph and ends with exercise time.
It's all right here as maximum security bungalows go, but I wish I was at Mrs. Fletcher's. She had Johnny Cash come and sing.
I hear the teacups rattle, hear the mighty Hoover roar. I'm always washing dishes and polishing the floor. I'm stuck in Mrs. Fletcher, doing time. Yeah, I'm stuck in Mrs. Fletcher's for a while.
Is it a good solution to prison overcrowding, or not? Or is it? Or perhaps it isn't. Who knows? Or perhaps they do. Or not.
I'm not going to say anything. My lips are sealed. Not a word. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm not working for this lot again. Penny-pinching cheapskates. Let's go back to religion today.
We got too much stuff. We got far too much. Look, hang on, we're going to have to get rid of some of this stuff. So don't get the bedside table, don't get the kitchenware, don't get the utensils, don't get the armchair.
Oh, yeah, keep the armchair.
All right, keep the armchair, but we don't need the rocking chair as well.
No.
All right, well, not the rocking chair.
Not the rocking chair.
None of the household furnishings. Forget the bedside clock. Elbow the Tupperware. Nanty the carpeting.
Except for the oriental rug.
Yeah, all right, except for the oriental rug. And just put the rest on the
There's
steps.
still far too much for the steps.
Yeah, well, shall we lose a bit more?
Why don't we go back to the original plan?
What, just take the money?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Just put the £1,000 only, none of the stuff, on
Some
the
of that stuff was nice, though.
Yeah, there was all those presents and all.
Yeah. Why don't we ask for some more money, then we can buy some of that stuff?
But would they give us more money for our
Oh,
sport?
I should think so.
How much?
Couple of £1,000, don't you think?
Yeah, top whack though, no more.
Oh, no. Isn't as if we had Richard Baker as well.
I told you we should have gone for Parkinson.
No, I don't like him. I wanted to meet Aspel.
Anyway, this is irrelevant. Now then, should we have the stuff or not?
Yeah.
All right, we will have all that stuff, including all the bits we said we wouldn't have.
I.e. the rocking chair.
I.e. the rocking chair, in a lorry,
That's a good idea.
which will be parked by the steps.
Will we keep the lorry?
Yeah, well, we'll keep the lorry for a bit.
Hey, we could give Aspel the lorry.
Aspel doesn't want a lorry.
Do you think Richard Baker would like the lorry?
Look, shut up about the bloody lorry.
You are a difficult bastard.
So he is a difficult bastard after all. Tomorrow night, Religion Today will be back again. Until then, from me, the Bishop, and the difficult bastard, good night.
Hello, I bet you're wondering why we're here, sitting on our bums without a stitch of gear. Well, as it happens, our budget has expired, and everything's gone back to the place from whence it's hired. And so, although you know we never bitch, there's not a single funny set we haven't got a stitch, for we've overspent our budget, good not half. Now there's nothing left to spend to make you laugh. Our hospitality's all drunk, our producer's done a bunk, our director's lying down with an aspirin. The man who is in charge of all the money has a large question mark hanging over him and his future. And so, although our budget is quite steep, 6,000 quid or so, which isn't very cheap, that's what it costs to make you bleed a smile, and we've been and overspent it by a mile. Consequently, we're sitting here on our bums in the BBC towels we borrowed from our chums in the wardrobe department. There's approximately 5 minutes or so to go, well, maybe 3. Perhaps they'll switch us off early to save electricity. Oh, they have.